Properties generally have opposing trend across the period and down the group. Here itself we can see whatever the properties are having decreasing trend across the period, they will have increasing trend down the group. If they are having increasing trend across the period, then they will have decreasing trend down the group. So, when we move diagonally to the right, these opposing trends cancel each other's effect, giving similarities in properties, and this is called as diagonal relationship. As an example, let us consider second period and third period elements. Lithium and magnesium are diagonal in relationship and they show similarities in their chemical properties. In the same manner, beryllium and aluminium, boron and silicon show similarities in properties. These second period elements are called as bridge elements. To a certain extent, one can analyze the stability of elements by considering the number of neutrons and protons in that element. Up to atomic number 20, that is up to calcium, if neutron to proton ratio is approximately 1, then elements were observed to be stable. Above atomic number 20, that is with heavier elements, if neutron to proton ratio is approximately 1.5, then they were found to be stable. Any neutron to proton ratio other than 1.5 makes the element unstable and radioactive. Let us consider these three elements as an example. Carbon and oxygen are lighter elements having atomic number below 20. Uranium is a heavy element having atomic number above 20. In carbon, we are having 6 protons and 6 neutrons. So N by P ratio is 1. So carbon 12 is a stable isotope. In oxygen 16, we have 8 protons and 8 neutrons. Again, N by P ratio is 1. So oxygen 16 is also a stable element. Coming to uranium 236, we have 92 protons and 236 minus 92, that is 144 neutrons. If we take the neutron to proton ratio, this comes out to be 1.56, little more than whatever the number we have mentioned over here to attain stability. For this reason, uranium 236 is unstable and this element is radioactive in nature. For more information about belt of stability, you can visit this Wikipedia page. We will be comparing group 1 and group 17 elements in this slide. We have alkali metals in group 1. They are lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium and francium. Among these, francium is a radioactive element. In group 17, we have halogens, fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine and astatine are the elements. Among these, astatine is a radioactive element. Coming to valency, both group 1 and group 17 elements are univalent or monovalent in nature. Appearance, group 1 elements are light and soft metals. They can be cut with a knife. Group 17 elements, they exist as gases, liquid and solid. Also, all the elements exist as diatomic molecules. Fluorine and chlorine are gases. Bromine is a volatile liquid. Iodine is a solid. Nature, group 1 elements are metallic in nature. Also, they are electropositive, meaning they prefer to lose electrons. Group 17 elements are non-metallic in nature. They are electronegative, meaning they have a tendency to attract electrons. In redox reaction, group 1 elements prefer to act as reducing agents because they prefer to lose electrons. Group 17 elements, they prefer to act as oxidizing agents because they have a tendency to accept electrons. With nonmetals, group 1 elements form ionic compounds. Example, potassium chloride, sodium chloride, lithium chloride, etc. Group 17 elements form covalent compounds with nonmetals. Example, hydrogen chloride, PCl3, S2Cl2, etc. With hydrogen, alkali metals or group 1 elements form ionic hydrides. Example, potassium hydride, sodium hydride, lithium hydride, etc. Group 17 elements form covalent hydrides with hydrogen. Example, HCl, HF, HBr, HI, etc. With metals, group 1 elements have no reaction because both of them are metals. Group 17 elements form ionic compounds with metals. Example, potassium chloride, sodium chloride, lithium chloride, etc. Compounds of period 3 elements and their general nature. Period 3 elements are listed over here. Before going ahead to the compounds of period 3 elements, let us keep few general points in mind. More metallic the element, more basic its oxide and hydroxides will be. Also, compounds are more likely to be ionic in nature. More non-metallic the element, more acidic its oxides and oxyacids will be. Also, compounds are likely to have more of a covalent nature. If we have a metalloid element, then compounds are likely to be amphoteric in nature. Amphoteric means they can act as both acid and base. Also, its compounds are likely to have both covalent and ionic nature. Period 3 elements reacting with chlorine. With sodium, it forms sodium chloride. With magnesium, magnesium chloride. Aluminium and chlorine, aluminium chloride. Silicon and chlorine, silicon tetrachloride. Phosphorus and chlorine, phosphorus trichloride or phosphorus pentachloride. Sulfur and chlorine, disulfur dichloride. Chlorine with chlorine forms chlorine diatomic molecule. Argon doesn't react with any other element because it is a noble gas which is already stable. Observe, metallic elements form ionic compounds, non-metallic elements form covalent compounds. Aluminium being a metalloid forms compound which is both ionic and covalent in nature. Let us consider the reaction of third period elements with hydrogen. With sodium, hydrogen forms sodium hydride, magnesium forms magnesium hydride, aluminium forms aluminium hydride, silicon and hydrogen forms silicon tetrahydride, phosphorus and hydrogen forms phosphine, sulfur and hydrogen forms hydrogen sulfide, that is H2S, chlorine and hydrogen forms HCl, argon with hydrogen, no reaction for the same reason. Again, metallic element forms strong base, non-metallic element forms strong acid. Elements which come in between form weak bases and weak acid depending upon whether they are metallic or non-metallic in nature. Period 3 elements with oxygen forms oxide. Sodium and oxygen forms sodium oxide. Magnesium and oxygen, magnesium oxide. Aluminium and oxygen, aluminium oxide. Silicon and oxygen, silicon dioxide. Phosphorus and oxygen, phosphorus pentoxide. Sulfur and oxygen forms two compounds, sulfur dioxide and sulfur trioxide. Chlorine and oxygen forms chlorine heptoxide, that is Cl2O7. Argon doesn't react with oxygen or any other element because it is a noble gas and is already stable. Apply the same logic. Compounds formed by metals are largely ionic in nature. Compounds formed by non-metals are largely covalent in nature. Observe, oxides formed by the metals are strongly basic at this extreme, and on the other side, compounds formed by chlorine are strongly acidic in nature on the other extreme. Compounds which form in between, they start to deteriorate from that extreme point. Strongly basic, it starts to become less basic. Strongly acidic, it starts to become less acidic, and at the center we have amphoteric compound. Formation of hydroxide and oxyacids from period 3 elements. Not all elements are capable of forming hydroxide and not all elements are capable of forming oxyacid. Sodium can form sodium hydroxide, which is a strong base. Magnesium can form magnesium hydroxide. This is also basic in nature but less basic than sodium hydroxide. Aluminium can form aluminium hydroxide, that is amphoteric in nature. Silicon forms oxyacid, that is called as metasilicic acid, that is H2SiO3, which is a weak acid. Phosphorus forms two types of oxyacids. One is HPO3 called as metaphosphoric acid. Another one is H3PO4 called as orthophosphoric acid. Both of them are weak acids. Sulfur forms H2SO3, that is sulfurous acid, or H2SO4, that is sulfuric acid. Both of them are strong acids. Chlorine forms HClO4, that is perchloric acid. This is a very strong acid. Argon doesn't have any tendency to form hydroxide or oxyacid because it is a noble gas. Reactivity of an element is its capacity to respond. That response may be either donation of electron or acceptance of electron or sharing of electrons. A most reactive metal loses electrons easily and a most reactive nonmetal gains or shares electrons easily. Let us consider third period elements. Here on the left extreme, that is in group 1, we have most reactive metal, and on the right extreme, leaving the noble gases, we have most reactive nonmetal. If we consider the periodic table as a whole, then most reactive metal in the periodic table is cesium because metallic character increases down the group. We are not considering francium because it is radioactive in nature. Most reactive nonmetal of the periodic table is fluorine because across the period non-metallic character increases. Variation of these three physical properties in periodic table. Melting point means temperature at which solid becomes liquid. Boiling point is the temperature at which liquid becomes gas. Density is the ratio of mass divided by volume. We know that on the left hand side of the periodic table we are having metals and on the right hand side of the periodic table we are having nonmetals. Last group belongs to noble gases. Boiling point and melting point are observed to be decreasing down the group for metals. Boiling point and melting point are observed to be increasing down the group for nonmetals. Density increases down the group for both metals and nonmetals. Across the period, all these three physical properties are observed to be increasing, reaches a maximum, and then starts to decrease.